A new scam has emerged involving sophisticated artificial intelligence.
Warning of advancing artificial intelligence used to simulate someone's voice in imposter scams.
Cybersecurity experts warn scammers can use vocal renditions to trick banks into moving customers' money.
Voice cloning isn't a new concept, but it's becoming more accessible, accurate, and easier to use thanks to AI.
Everything sounded normal. The voice, the instructions, the urgency. Minutes later, $11 million vanished. What if the voice on the phone wasn't human? One phone call, one cloned voice, $11 million gone. In this shocking deepfake heist, criminals used AI to impersonate a trusted executive, revealing how even modern banking security can collapse in minutes. Curious? Let's dive in. Chapter 1. When a voice becomes a weapon. What if the voice you trusted most was never real? Artificial intelligence has transformed the digital world, but it has also given cybercriminals powerful new tools. Among them, voice deepfake technology has become one of the most dangerous. With only a short audio sample, AI can replicate a person's voice with remarkable accuracy. Tone, accent, and speaking style can all be copied. Criminals can create convincing phone calls that sound like they come from trusted individuals. For banks and corporations, this presents a serious threat. Many financial operations still rely on verbal instructions between executives and employees. For years, the sound of a familiar voice was considered enough to verify identity. However, as AI technology evolves, that assumption is increasingly risky. The $11 million deepfake heist exposed a new reality in cybercrime. Sometimes the most trusted voice can become the most dangerous weapon. Chapter 2. The perfect target. How much information about a company's executives can criminals find online? Before the heist took place, attackers spent weeks carefully studying their target organization, based in the United Arab Emirates. They analyzed company structures, executive roles, and financial procedures to understand how money moved. Their goal wasn't to break into systems, but to identify the exact person whose authority could convince others to approve a large transfer. Public appearances, interviews, conference speeches, and online videos provided valuable audio recordings of a senior executive. These recordings gave criminals enough material to later build a deepfake model. At the same time, they observed internal business operations, waiting patiently for the right moment. When a large transaction would not appear unusual, by the end of their preparation, the attackers knew exactly who to impersonate, and which employee would likely follow instructions without hesitation. The stage for deception was now set. Chapter 3. Building the fake voice. Imagine hearing your own voice say words you never spoke. Using advanced AI voice cloning software, the criminals began building a synthetic version of the executive's voice. Modern machine learning algorithms analyze tiny vocal patterns, including pitch, rhythm, and pronunciation. This allows them to recreate speech that sounds almost identical to the real person. Once the AI model is trained, it can generate entirely new sentences in the cloned voice. The attackers tested the system repeatedly, ensuring the speech sounded natural and convincing during phone conversations. But here's the unsettling question. If a trusted colleague called you using a voice that sounded exactly like your boss, would you question it? Over a standard phone connection, where sound quality is slightly compressed, it becomes even harder to detect imperfections in synthetic audio. This gave the criminals confidence that their deepfake voice would pass as genuine. What they created was more than just fake audio. It was a powerful tool for deception. Chapter 4. The call that changed everything. Sometimes, the most dangerous attacks begin with a single phone call. On what seemed like a normal workday, a bank employee received a call from someone who sounded exactly like a senior executive. The caller spoke calmly and confidently, explaining that an urgent financial transfer needed to be completed for an ongoing business deal. To strengthen the request, supporting emails and documents followed shortly after. Everything appeared legitimate. The voice, the instructions, the documentation. The employee had spoken with this executive before. The familiar voice raised no suspicion. Trust and urgency combined to create the perfect situation for manipulation. Within minutes, the bank processed a transfer worth millions of dollars. The heist had begun. Chapter 5. The disappearing millions. Money can move across the world in seconds, and criminals know exactly how to take advantage of that. After the transfer was authorized, the attackers immediately began moving the funds through a complex network of bank accounts in multiple countries, including destinations such as the United Arab Emirates, Cayman Islands, Switzerland, and the United States, as part of the laundering process. This strategy, known as layering, is designed to make stolen money extremely difficult to trace, especially when it's routed through jurisdictions with strict financial secrecy rules. Large sums were divided into smaller transactions and transferred through different institutions, routed through shell company accounts, and sometimes converted into digital assets to further obscure the trail. Each transaction made the path more complicated for investigators. By the time the fraud was detected, a large portion of the money had already disappeared into the global financial system. And that leaves one critical question. If millions of dollars can vanish in minutes, can banks truly stop a crime once it has already begun? Chapter 6. The Security Breakdown. The most surprising part of this heist is that no bank servers were hacked. Instead of attacking technology, the criminals targeted human trust. The bank relied heavily on voice communication and internal authority structures to approve urgent transactions. Because the request appeared to come from a trusted executive, the employee did not question it. However, stronger verification systems could have prevented the fraud. Multi-factor authentication, secondary approval procedures, and mandatory callback verification are security measures that could have stopped the transfer before it was completed. In this case, the attackers didn't need to break into the system, they simply convinced someone inside it. Chapter 7. A Warning for the Future. The $11 million deepfake voice scam represents a growing threat in the age of artificial intelligence. Incidents like this have been reported in countries such as the United Arab Emirates, Hong Kong, the United States, and the United Kingdom. As AI tools become more advanced and accessible, voice cloning technology will continue to improve. Criminals in these regions are finding new ways to exploit trust, authority, and human psychology. In response, banks and corporations across the UAE, Europe, and North America are beginning to implement stronger safeguards. These include AI systems designed to detect synthetic voices and stricter verification procedures for financial transactions. But technology alone cannot solve the problem, because in the future of cybercrime, the most dangerous weapon may not be malware or hacking tools. It may simply be a voice that sounds real enough to believe. And that's how a simple phone call powered by AI turned into an $11 million bank heist. It's incredible and terrifying how technology can manipulate trust in seconds. What would you do if you received a call like this? Have you ever encountered something suspicious in your workplace? Comment below with your thoughts and let us know how you would react. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real tech and cybercrime stories. Stay alert and see you in the next video.